Contracts 1 General Principles, important questions from examination point of view, and some tips, that is, guidelines as to how to face the examination successfully. Dear student friends, from this subject, Contracts 1 General Principles, I delivered and uploaded lectures on almost all the topics. This subject Contracts 1 is split into two parts. Part 1 is general principles, that is from section 1 to 75. Part 2 is from specific contracts, that is 76 to 266. All these aspects I explained in detail in summaries. In this lecture, I wish to enlighten you various aspects as to what topics you have to prepare first, what topics you have to prepare later. If the question is not asked directly but indirectly by way of quotation or other, how to face that question is what I am going to enlighten you. In so far as this subject is concerned, the first lecture I delivered, that is summary of the subject. First lecture I uploaded is summary of the entire subject containing all the chapters, that is section 1 to 75. Second lecture, that is meaning, definition and kinds of contract, that is this chapter is the foundation of the subject, so every student is expected to have complete knowledge about this chapter. Next lecture is first element, that is offer and acceptance. Next chapter is next element consideration, section 2D. Next lecture is free consent, section 14, and flaws in consent, 15 to 22. Next lecture, capacity of parties or competence of parties, section 11 and 12. Insanity and infancy and insanity, that is the minor and unsoundness of mind, 11 and 12. And next lecture, legality of object or lawful object, section 23, followed by contracts opposed to public policy, that is under section 26 to 30, including wagering contract. Next lecture, discharge of contract. Next lecture, wagering contract, and next lecture, quasi contract. Next lecture, wagering contract and contingent contract. Last lecture, remedies. These are the almost all the chapters I have delivered and uploaded the lectures. Now, how to face the examination, what chapters you have to read first, what chapter you have to read later. When you want to prepare for the examination, I suggest you to choose the book of your choice, which book will be quite suitable for you. So when you take admission, you will be supplied with some prospect of your college. That prospectus contains various aspects relating to your college, infrastructure, facilities, library facilities, including your subjects. First semester to last subjects. What are the subjects that are prescribed for study? And along with the syllabi of various subjects, at the end of the subject, there will be prescribed books for study. So, secondly, so far as syllabus is concerned, in certain cases, in certain areas, the syllabus may be confusing because the entrant of law school, first year student, may not be able to understand the contents properly. But you have to take the book of some leading Indian author so that the arrangement of chapters is very clear. For example, Kailash Rai, J.N. Pandey, in some English books, great authors, the syllabus arrangement is somewhat little bit difficult. In the early stage, you won't be able to understand the style of presentation in syllabus so easily. That is why what I want to tell you is, your teacher will suggest you the prescribed book, and your seniors also will by virtue of their experience and commensurate to their knowledge, will suggest you. You take the guidance of your teachers and you take the guidance of your senior students who have already experienced with those books. So you take the book, you make note of the book to be purchased. And before going to purchase the book, you see that book either in library or you go to book, so, and spare some time, go through the content of the book which you are going to prepare. You go through the content. If the contents are suitable to your knowledge, if the contents of the book are quite suitable to your knowledge and your capacity and competence and memory, you choose that book and purchase. Every book will contain the same content, the presentation is different. Some books, the material will be voluminous. In some books the material will be limited, but you are supposed to present in as answer very limited material only. Now, just whatever book you choose, it is well, before preparing exam, it is you are advised to maintain some working notes, because there will be every day during examinations, there will be one day one examination. There won't be any good much gap will not be there. Within one day you will have to refer all the questions and answers. If you go through the book you purchased, which is in hundreds of pages, you won't be able to refer the entire book. That is why you read the book well in advance thoroughly, and you prepare a working notes of you take some notebook of around below 100 pages. You write the side headings and synopsis, side heading, cases, sections. You have to write every chapter in brief, so that it will be easy for you to refer very quickly. You have to by heart all the side headings, sections, cases, so that it will be easier for you to give reference in a short span of time, so that you will be able to face the exam successfully. Now, first thing is what is one. So, what book you have to read? You have to critically, you have to go through the book, see the contents, whether that book is suitable to your knowledge, suitable to your capacity. Think and then purchase the book. Yes. Whatever book you have selected for study for a particular subject, before preparing the examination, you are advised to read the book from first page to last page, or first chapter to last chapter. The reason is you should have overall idea about all the sub chapters, all the contents of the subject. Whether you take a book of around 100 pages or 500 pages or even more, you should have the overall idea of each and every subject, each and every chapter. If you can spare enough time, enough patience to read first chapter to last chapter, novel reading you have to give. In case you are not able to give novel reading, you take the help of my video lectures. In every subject I have given summary. This contracts one, entire summary I uploaded in 2 lectures, but this time revision time I have uploaded the entire syllabus, all the chapter, just in only 1 lecture of more than 1 hour. So if you watch that earlier summary of 2 lectures and this summary of around 1 lecture, so you can have overall idea about the subject, so that you can pick out the most important topic from examination point of view. As per serial order, contract, meaning, definition, elements, for acceptance, consideration, free consent, capacity, legality of object, discharge, wagering contract, contingent contract, discharge of contract, quasi contract, and then remedies. This is the serial order of this. So you need not go through serial order only. So once you have the idea of all the subjects, all the chapters, you can pick out any topic, the best topic from examination point of view. You have to this. In this connection, I suggest you to take meaning, definition, and kinds of contract. You read that first and prepare a working notes. Secondly, you take next lecture quasi contract, kinds of quasi contract as second topic. Third topic you take capacity or competence of parties, section 11 and 12. Next you take remedies. First of all, you pick out four chapters: contracts, meaning, definition and elements. Second chapter, second quasi contracts, that is last but one chapter. You take that. Third one is capacity or competence of parties, section 11 and 12 you have to take. Next, remedies you have to take. You take these first chapters because they will have overall, these chapters will have very good important throughout your studies, throughout your LLB studies. First one is you have to take contract, meaning, definition and elements, because this chapter is the foundation of the subject. So that is why you have to take first contract, meaning, definition and elements as one question. The question may be asked, define contract and define contract and its requisites of contract. The question may be asked. If it is directly asked, you have to write it. Meaning of contract, you write 4-5 lines. Definition, you write section 2H definition, you have to write. Section 10 definition, you have to write. And then you have to write the ingredients or conscience of contract, namely offer, acceptance, 2A, 2B, consideration, 2D, and so on, like that. You have to answer all this. So if a question is asked directly, if the question sometimes, generally the question is asked indirectly from this particular chapter, namely, generally in the first question of most of the question papers is, in agreement to enforceable by law is contract discussed. That is the question may be asked. If question is asked, this question refers to meaning, definition and elements of contract. In agreement enforceable by law refers to section 2H of Indian Contract Act. Section 2H of Indian Contract Act defines an agreement enforceable by law. You have to write. So you have identified this. To justify this question, you have to to justify this question, the following headlines are to be presented. Number one, meaning of contract. You write meaning of contract in 3-4 lines. Then you write the definition of 2H. Then you write the definition of section 10 and you ingredients, offer, acceptance, 2A, 2B, section 2D, consideration 2D, capacity. Like this you have to write all the, then the answer will be completed. Sometimes the same question, meaning, definition and elements of contract, may be asked in another way. In agreement, all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contract. So yes, I absolutely agree with this statement, because agreement, contract is an improvement over the agreement. When once offer and acceptance is agreement constitute offer and acceptance, it may be valid or may not be valid. So those agreements which are valid and enforceable are contracts. Those agreements, to an agreement to be valid and enforceable under as per section 2A, it must fulfill the conditions enshrined under section 10 of the Indian Contract Act. So all agreements are all contracts are agreement, but all agreements are not contract. Just like all MAs are BAs, but all BAs are not MAs. All mothers are married women, but all married women are not mother. Of course, there may be some exception. Like this, contract status is more when compared to agreement status. If the agreement may be valid or invalid agreement, only valid agreement. If the agreement is valid, to be valid, it must contain the conditions under section 10. Valid offer and acceptance 2A, 2B, consideration 2D, like this and so on. You have to complete this. Then only it will be enforceable under section 2H. So this you have to write these 4 lines and then write about meaning, definition, elements of contract. So that is why this question is most likely answered in most of the question papers of various universities in India. That is. Sometimes what happens is, in a university question paper setting may be different from university to university. In some universities, some 8 questions are given, 7 answer any 5 questions. 7 questions are essay question, 8th question is short notes, 4 short notes are given, and 2 short notes the student has to answer. That is one type. In some universities, short questions are there, essay questions are there. In sometimes medium, in one question two concepts are asked, like that. So in some university question paper, problems also may be asked question. Some problem is given, the student is asked to give case comment. So like this, there will be essay questions will be there, short questions will be there, problems will be there. If problem is given, how to answer. If case is given, how to answer. I will let you know in course of my explanation. That is first thing. Next thing is in so far as contract meaning, definition, element, question may be asked directly, or agreement enforceable by law is contract. It may be like that asked. So all contracts are agreement, but all agreements are not contracts. For like this, you have to write. This question is most important. It is quite likely to be asked in most of the examinations. Next, in second part of this chapter is kinds of contract. There are 5 types of contract. Contracts: valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, illegal contract, unenforceable contract, kinds of stuff. So, some question is asked to define contract and what are the various kinds of contract. Directly you have to answer meaning, definition, 5 kinds you can write. But generally kinds of contract only short notes is asked. Preferably void contract or voidable contract. Short notes may be asked. The other the remaining 3 may be asked as short note, but most likely void contract and voidable contract are most important for short notes point of view. With this, first chapter is over. So, because you have to read first meaning, definition, elements of contract and kinds of contract, because this is the foundation. First chapter is the foundation of the subject, beginning of the subject. Now, as you have already now having knowledge over summary, you have gone through the summary, you will have the knowledge of all the chapter. You can pick out any chapter of your choice which is very important from examination point of view. Then you go to next chapter, quasi contract. See, quasi contract is a contract is emerged out of principles of natural justice, equity. So this equitable principles are you have to deal with these principles of equity, justice, equity, good conscience throughout your studies, because when a legislation it is a source of law. It is one of the main sources of law. Suppose any case in our textbooks contain the cases of 1850, 1860 also. If the case may be 100 years old, 150 years old, the rule may be more than 100 years old. They remain unchanged. They won't change. If any book is amended, but the all legislative provision which were drafted according to principles of natural justice will remain unchanged. Whereas the principles, legislative principles, provision in an act are drafted as per the socio-economic condition, they get changed. But basic principles of that is why the principles of natural justice, equity are very important. These aspects you come through. Suppose if a contract is created, some contractual obligation are created between both the parties. One party has an obligation towards other party has an obligation towards other party. These contractual obligation duty to perform the contract is created by the parties by entering into the contract. This contract connects both the parties to discharge certain contractual obligation. So, but in whereas quasi contract, there is no any agreement out of the principle of natural justice. This contractual obligation is created. So that is why this is not a contract in reality. It looks like a contract. It resembles like a contract. If the question is asked, those things with obligation which resemble contract, that the quotation may be given. That resemble contract, the word resemble contract is there, you presume that it is quasi contract. But no one shall enrich any benefit at the expense of other. That is, one person gets, if one person should not get any profit or benefit at the cost of other, at the loss of other. This information is given in the question. You should identify that it is quasi contract. This statement refers to quasi contract. Quasi-contractual obligation or breach of quasi-contractual obligation as per the statement. Section 68 to 72 of the Indian Contract Act lays down, provides for 5 kinds of quasi-contract. 68 necessities apply to necessities applied to minor, finder of lost goods, promise, promise made by one person, payment made by mistake, like that. Five questions are five kinds of quasi contract are there. I told you. So when you have to answer, this statement refers to quasi contract or breach of quasi contract or breach of quasi contract law obligation. Section 68 to 72 of the Indian Contract Act provides for five kinds of quasi contract. You have to write all these five quasi contracts, and you have write. Sometimes only minor luxury sublet to minor may be asked as short notes, or finder of lost goods may be asked as short notes. This is the second most important chapter is over. Third most important chapter is capacity or competence of parties. Section 11 and 12 of Indian Contract Act deal with the capacity and of parties or competence of parties. Who are the persons who are competent to enter into contract? Who are not competent to enter into contract? Who are disqualified? We have to study. This I have given enlightened this lecture in detail. Suppose in this particular lecture, section 11 refers to minor contract, section 12 refers to unsoundness of mind, and next one is persons disqualified by law to contract. That is insolvent or convict, alien enemy, like that they are there. I explained everything in detail in the respective chapter. So here in this particular chapter, capacity, a minor contract is very important from examination point of view. The question may be asked like this. A contract entered into with minor is void. Discuss. That way the question may be asked. Or otherwise, what is the rule laid down in Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh? A contract entered into with minor is void. If the question is like discuss. So yes, the contract the contract is entered into with minor is void is absolutely correct, because the Privy Council in Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh laid down that a contract entered into with minor is void. You have to answer given it. So who is minor? You have to write about the minor. What are other things? You have to write about minor, Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh facts, and then you have to write other contract. A minor can be a promisor. Who is minor? Who is minor? Why age limit? If guardian is appointed, then you have to write about you have to write the meaning of minor. Then Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh facts and everything you have to write. Then other points are there. The minor's contract, minor cannot be can be a promisee, cannot be a promisor, no vicarious liability, no ratification, like that. Some 5 points are there. So these remaining 4 points you have to write very simply, very short. Every other 4 headings you have to write in 4-5 lines. But whereas the contract entered into with minor, you have to write in detail. If essay question is asked, minor contract and all 4 items you have to 4 points you have to write in detail. If a short question is asked, simply you have to confine to Privy Council decision and facts only. It is enough. It is enough. What is the rule laid down in Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh? So the rule laid down by Mohri Bibi versus Dharmdas Ghosh is a contract entered into by with minor is void as enunciated by the Privy Council. You have to write and answer like that. So depending upon the marks, whether it is essay question or a short question, you have to write the volume of the answer. This is regarding a minor contract. Next, unsoundness of mind. Unsoundness of mind, section 10. The unsound or insane person. And minor means infant, infancy or minority. Then unsoundness, section 12 is unsoundness of mind, various instances of unsoundness. Suppose rarely a question may be asked. It may be asked as unsoundness of mind, short question may be asked. And other disqualified by law, alien enemy, insolvent, convict are there. But I think questions generally not asked. If at all asked, insolvent, the position of legal status of insolvent in legal status of insolvent may be asked. So generally the examiner may they ask anything we can, but practically speaking only minor contract is more important from examination point of view in this chapter, because the minor appears to you everywhere. Transfer of Property Act, all succession laws, the next company law, minor you have to read, banking law you have to read, company law, so many subjects, the minor contracts will come, you have to come across. So that is why if you concentrate this first, This is not only useful for this subject exam, but also many more subjects in future. So third chapter is over. Next chapter what you have to take up is remedies. Remedies is 2 days back I delivered lecture on remedies. Remedies means different kinds of remedies. When the person approaches court seeking some remedy, invoking some point, invoking some provision or other. Rescission is there, damages are there, quantum merit is there, specific performance is there, injection is there. All these topics are not only important for examination point of view, but also they are useful everywhere in your future subjects. Injunction, as a lawman, you should know about what is injunction. Specific performance, you should compulsorily know about specific performance. You should know about what is damage, what is damages, what are the different kinds of damages. You have to understand. You have to understand about all these things. So that is why this remedy chapter is very important from examination point of view. So here what you have to do is you have to give the novel reading of the subject first. Secondly, either you give novel reading of the subject from the book you have chosen, or you have to watch my video where I previous lecture. In 2 lectures, entire subject I covered in a summary, and this lecture only one chapter, only one chapter I have covered the entire syllabus. If you can go through both the lectures, you will have very good idea about overall subject, and you have to pick out first these 4 chapters. If you pick out these 4 chapters, prepare working notes, maintaining good handwriting, good side heading, section number, cases. You remember these 4 lectures. If you can make a working notes of around 10 to 12 pages for reference before the examination. And thereafter what you have to do is serial order. Offer and acceptance, next chapter is there, 2A and 2B. In offer, what is offer? What are the essential elements of offer? Question is there. But in every essential element, there are some. An offer may be a specific or general. So general offer may be asked as question. Either general offer is asked as question, or Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company case may be asked as question. If Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company is given, this case refers to general offer. Then you have to write about general Carlyle versus Carbolic offer may be 2 kinds, a general offer, specific offer. If offer is made to publicant, then you have to write about what I explained for this general offer. The Carlyle versus Carbolic case, Smoke Ball Company case, you have to write. Suppose the Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company case is given any problems. If there are some universities, part 3 will be there. There are problems. Any problem is given basing on the facts of a particular relevant case. So when that particular problem is given, the instant problem refers to so and so case. So Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company, it comes under general offer. General offer is one of the essential elements of offer. Then you have to write meaning, definition of offer, and different kinds of offer. Then depending upon the number of questions, decision, a trial court judgment, higher court judgment, court of appeal judgment, like that you have to write. How to, in my textbook contracts, I have given so many case comment also. I have given in some textbooks, contracts, one textbook published by Asia Law House. Case comment also I have given. Instant case refers to so and so case, and principle involved, judgment, all these things I have given. So that is, see if problems are asked like this. So here offer and acceptance, offer from offer topic, offer area, offer and acceptance chapter. In offer, general offer may be asked as a short note. A general offer, Carlyle case may be asked as a short question. An invitation to offer is very, very important. Invitation to offer may be important. On this problem also may be given. Invitation to offer. Next, communication of offer is there. Revocation of offer is there. These topics may be asked as short notes. So communication of offer and acceptance may be asked as essay question also. So what are the meaning, definition and elements of offer? may be asked as essay question, you have to write. Otherwise, short notes may be asked from these. And then you proceed to acceptance, meaning, definition, elements, almost identical corresponding points are there. I explained there. So here, so far as communication offer is common to offer and question may be asked communication of offer and acceptance. So similarly, revocation of acceptance correspondingly may be asked. Sometimes, rarely, cross offer may be questioned. Cross offers may be cross offer, counter offer may be asked as a short note. So this is this offer and acceptance chapter. Communication of offer and acceptance may be asked as essay question. The invitation to offer, general offer, that is Carlyle case, may be asked as a short notes. Now coming to the next topic, next chapter, consideration. Consideration, section 2D. Consideration, in first question is consideration, meaning, definition, elements. That is one question. Second question is a contract without consideration is void with exceptions. Section 25, clause 1 to 3. That is second question. Third question is privity of contract or stranger to contract cannot sue, a stranger to consideration can sue. So these are the three questions are there in this subject. So the question may be asked, what is consideration, meaning you have to write, definition you have to write as per 2D, elements you have to write, elements you have to write. In the elements, past consideration, no consideration. That point may be asked as short notes. Consideration need not be adequate, elucidate. From that point, question may be asked. Just simply, the past consideration is no consideration. That topic may be asked. So that is first question. Second important question, generally when compared to element, this question is important. So a contract without consideration is void, discussed. Then if question is asked, yes, this contract without consideration is void is absolute true, because consideration is lawful consideration is main purpose of the contract. Without consideration is no consideration, because ex nudo facto non oritur actio, out of the nude fact no cause of action arises. That is the principle you have to maintain. And then consideration, if a question is asked, consideration, meaning you have to write, definition you have to write. A contract without consideration is, some exceptions are there. All time, if consideration is not there, contract is valid. There are three circumstances in which consideration, a contract is valid even without consideration. Section 25, clause 1 to 3. That is love and affection, promised for past service rendered, promissory note. 3 points are there. You have to write these 3 points. Then there ends the matter. Third question in this topic is a contract, a stranger to contract cannot sue. A stranger to consideration can sue. Dunlop Limotic Company can. So out of these three question, any one of the three questions may be asked. Preferably a contract without consideration may be asked. Sometimes a stranger to contract cannot sue, but a stranger to consideration can sue. This question. This detailed I gave explanation in my lecture. Next, after consideration, next chapter is legality object or lawful. Next chapter is free consent. Next chapter is free consent. Section 13 free consent, 14 free consent. A consent has to be free if there is no flaws in consent. Section 15 to 22 lay down where they deal with coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake. So a consideration to be consent to be free, it should not be attracted by any one of the flaws like fraud, coercion, undue influence, fraud like this. So this general question may be asked. Free consent. A consent is said to be, then overall question is asked. You have to write the meaning of consent. Free consent, section 14 you have to write, and then flaws in consent you have to write. You have to write little information. Every side heading 3-4 lines you have to write. It is enough. If some specifically question is asked on coercion, you have to write coercion. Undue influence may be asked separately. And fraud and misrepresentation may be asked, distinction may be asked, you have to write that. And this is the, so short question may be asked on coercion, short question may be asked on undue influence, preferably coercion, short notes may be asked, fraud and misrepresentation, short notes may be asked, in rare cases mistake may be asked as short question. This chapter preferably a short question may be asked. If at all SO question is asked, they will ask fraud, misrepresentation, detailed question they will ask. Then you have to write meaning, definition of consent and free consent, and then proceed to distinction between fraud and misrepresentation. These aspects I explained in detail in the respective chapter. The next topic for discussion is legality of object or lawful object. Legality of object or lawful object means if any agreement is entered into unlawful object, that is void. So under section 23, a object of the contract must be lawful is one of the essential elements under section 10. So if it can be said to be illegal, unlawful, if it is opposed to public policy. What are the items that are opposed to public policy? It is cited in section 26 to 30. These what are these 30? 26 to 30. 26 agreement in restraint of marriage, 27 agreement in restraint of trade, 28 agreement in restraint of legal proceedings, 29 uncertainty, 30 wager. So wager may be asked as short notes. An agreement in restraint of trade is asked as a essay question. Among all these things, an agreement in restraint of trade may be asked as a essay question. You have to concentrate. Agreement in restraint of trade under section 27, read with section article 19(1)(g) of Indian Constitution. You have to write about this in the agreement. Among all the topic, agreement in restraint of trade and agreement in restraint of marriage or legal proceedings may be asked as a short question. So with this chapter, that area you have to concentrate. Next legality of object, next chapter is wagering contract and contingent contract. So wagering contract may be asked as short note. Contingent contract may be asked as short note. And sometimes we question define wagering contract and contingent contract and distinguish between the two. Essay question may be asked. You have to write. So wagering contract, contingent contract also is important from examination point of view with reference to insurance contracts. Now next topic for discussion is discharge of contract. Discharge of contract, so many items are there in that big chapter, but you have to concentrate. Doctrine of frustration, doctrine of novation. Section 56, doctrine of novation is very important from examination point of view, and it is essay question also may be asked on doctrine of frustration, section 56. At the same time, novation, section 62 may be asked as short notes. So in addition to that, next appropriation of payments, that is rule in Clayton case, and next joint promises also may be asked as short notes from this chapter. So this discharge of contract is over. Next topic for discussion is quasi-contract. Quasi-contract already is to be covered in the very beginning. Next chapter is remedies. Remedies have already been covered in the earlier. So these are the various things, dear friend. I sincerely tell you, I will. This is how I tell you. I sincerely tell all the students to follow my lectures first. Even the students of national law schools, prestigious law schools, may watch my lectures book once, and then if you watch my lectures first and go to college and attend the classes, you will be able to interact very effectively with the teachers. Teachers will appreciate you, and you read my lectures and book first and then attend the class. But you can refer later the prescribed books as per choice. My beloved teacher, late K.S.N. Murthy sir, who was professor of Anantapur University, formerly Andhra University, and principal Nyaya Vidyapeeth Law College, and used to tell the newly teacher who was appointed as lecturer, he used to suggest you read Raga Surya Rao book first and then any book of your choice. That is why I am given to understand that in Bangalore, so many the students of prestigious law schools also read my books first and then proceed to the books of their choice, books prescribed by the college. So that is why even myself also I am referring the books of high standard. I am converting the content of the high standard books into simple language for the benefit of my law students, because most of our law students are average students. Average student, some generally bright students go to medical engineering. So that is why I take every care to enlighten the students in as simple as possible. This is very important. Not only that, students of national law schools and prestigious. Suppose if the lecture is given keeping in mind the requirement of national law school students in high language and high level, average students and below average student will not be able to understand my lecture properly. Suppose if the lecture is given keeping in mind the requirement of average students, above average student or below average student, the students of high standard prosecuting legal education in prestigious law school can be will be able to understand very comfortably if they read first and then go to class, and if they can have very good interaction with the teacher and will get appreciated by the they will be appreciated by the concerned teacher also. I am telling you, I am taking all sincere efforts and assure that the whatever volume I have covered in these 10 to 12 lectures, you just convert it into typing through shorthand, you will get 200 pages volume. So I think it is not possible to attend more classes, because today, as far as my knowledge is concerned, even 10 minutes video appears to be lengthy video in YouTube or elsewhere, because people don't like to listen, don't have a lot of patience to listen long time. Here, as I sincerely tell that I have special experience in a legal fraternity. There may be wonderful teachers, distinguished scholars, highly eminent teachers, but I have some special experience because I taught each and almost I joined 86 in CRIT Law College, Yellore, as assistant professor, that is lecturer. I 2 years after my teaching, I served there 18 years. I used to deliver lectures before on the examination day, before examine one day before examination day, 3 to 5 hours, and with that knowledge, most of the students directly appeared for the exam. And the next day morning, afternoon, 2 o'clock exam. Morning, some VIPs used to attend, big officers, government officials. I had to give lecture for nearly 3 hours, and with that knowledge only, they directly appeared for exam, got through the exam. With this experience only, I started writing a study material of around 30 to 40 pages. For jurisprudence, I gave 19 pages and gave undertaking that this book, this material will serve the purpose. I signed also in that material, and in that 19 pages, full scap, 1.5 space, I covered first rights and duties, next topic legal person or personality, next sources, next schools, next possession ownership, like next liability, like that. These topics I have covered just in 19 pages. The A4 size double space, it will come to around 30 pages, 30 to 35 pages. So those I circulated that material not only in our college but also different parts of Andhra Pradesh, and some many got through LLB exam with that study material also. Now, some of my friends are asking PDF, but I have an inclination to present it. But if any publisher comes forward, I'll be able to present the subject within 40 below 100 pages. Below 100 pages, all these lectures. But let us see. Naturally, the publishers may not come forward because the books of high price containing 300 pages, 400 pages may not have proper, there will be decline in the sales of that high priced books. But that is not correct. But as per the standard of the students, that 5 to 50 pages book reading students are there, 500 pages book reading students are there, just like 5 lakh car people are there, 5 lakh car affordable people are there, 5 crore people, 5 crore car affordable people are there. So as per their convenience only they will do it. But in case I get opportunity, so most of my students are asking PDF. I am not able to do it. If I get chance, if any publisher comes forward, I will release it. Just I sincerely tell you, dear friend, what you have to do is, I sincerely suggest every student to learn typewriting. Typewriting not to become typist. If you get typewriting, you can have lower is enough. Lower typewriting up to exam. Whether you pass or not is immaterial, because if you go to typewriting up to exam, irrespective of the reason you pass or fail. So first paper speed you will get. First paper speed you will, so that you can type. You can maintain very good speed in a computer and cell phone. Second paper will be there. Second paper, there are so many jumbling sentences are there. Jumbling. With that, when you write one letter, where tomorrow you become some big software engineer or some any advocate, you have to address letter to higher officials. You have to maintain the methodology of letter writing. Where to write from address, where to give, to address, where to give, where to subject, reference, where to begin. Dear sir or respected sir, when you have to start the beginning of the letter, when you have to write regards or thanking you sincerely. All this methodology you will be able to understand. If you don't know about this procedure, when you go become an officer, you cannot have the idea of letter proper presentation. So that is important. So I sincerely tell everybody to learn, just spare 3 months and 1 hour for 3 4 months and learn typewriting. It will be very very useful for you. In case you will be able to practice a shorthand, it is a great boon for you, because you can attend classes, you can take the dictation of lecturers, and you need not read any book. Just like whatever teacher gives, whatever teacher is explained in the classroom, you can record that with your shorthand. So that advantage there. When I was studying LLB, my classmate was a steno. In every class, he was simply taking dictation of the lectures. He was reading that. He did not have any textbook. He did not have. He was very very regular to college. He did not purchase any textbook. He did not purchase any notebook. He used it to record shorthand. He had to prepare it. He was a college first in those days. So that is there. Shorthand is having. Don't not to become a steno, not to become typist. Typewriting and shorthand are very, very important from examination for our regular life. Even if you become more high level official, sometimes you have to type a letter of your with your own hand. Such confidence letter you may come across to type. It should not be disclosed even to your PA or even steno. You have to type it on your own with your handwriting. So that is why I suggest you to yeah, learn typewriting. So direct computer typing is not, you cannot have any speed. You have to one word like this, because in cell phones and all, if you touch one letter, you are getting words. It is speed is easier. But typewriting, it will be useful. Shorthand is very very useful. In case you have shorthand, when you go to national seminar or state level seminar or international seminar, delegates will come from different parts of the country. They will present very good lectures, keynote address and all. If you will be able to record their presentation in shorthand, you can easily bring out 2 articles. You can take the help of all the articles, and you can with the help of the material presented by those resource persons, you can write 2 articles on your 1 or 2 articles on your own. So your burden of going to library, referring so many books and then referring internet will be saved. So these are the various things. I am doing my best, dear student friend. If you follow my lectures, it will be very useful. I will, if I have time, as and when I have time, I will deliver these lectures, and I will do my best. Some students are asking labor law and others. Every subject I will take, and so far I have completed Revised contracts one will serve the purpose. If national schools or private university, the syllabus may be something different and extraordinary. I cannot say, but for all syllabus as a whole, what all these lectures I have covered each and every point. They will certainly serve the purpose. You watch this and take the book of your choice. You will be able to go through the exam. That is one thing. Second thing is, and I taught 18 more than 10 years. I delivered all the subjects before exam, and also when I joined Maharashtra aided law college as a principal, but the result was poor. I had to work day and night. I had to take the responsibility of all the subjects and taught the students. And even night time also in candle when if there was a power cut, I got through that and brought very good result. So many things I have done. I have some experience. So another thing is I'm very lucky that 21 subjects of my mine were translated into Hindi. I have given written consent to one publisher, Bangalore, Puliani and Puliani number one first cross. Six languages to be translated into translated. My books published by Aisha House, nearly 30 titles, can be published into translated into six languages. Four South Indian languages: Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, plus Gujarati and Marathi. Six languages I have given consent to Puliani and Puliani number first cross Gandhinagar, Bangalore, and they have that is there, and 21 subjects already translated into Hindi. Very big books were published. I got that privilege. I had a good experience. So you have to trust me. If you trust my lecture and follow my lecture, you can comfortably go through examination. With these few words, I take leave. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thanks a lot.